Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl and this is my Happy Handcraft Studio. Thank you for coming back to all my subscribers and Floss pals. It is really great to hear your comments and I really am thankful for your support. For anyone who found me by chance today, this is a channel about cross stitch and about the other handcrafts that I enjoy working on. So today I have cross stitch, I have some quilting, and a book review. So I hope that you will sit back and enjoy what I have to share with you today. So our snow has come to stay. It came a couple of days ago and I think winter is here in the foothills of Alberta. And I'm happy about that. Our winters are cold, but we have beautiful blue skies. So we make the best of it. When I talked to you last, I was preparing for our huge charity event, the Bags, Babies and Beyond, where we raise money for the Stephen Lewis Foundation Grandmothers to Grandmothers campaign. And it was a great success. We took in about $37,000 over 2 days selling our handcrafts. And so we're really pleased with the support of the community of our organization. So my big purchase, I bought Nathan the gnome, and this was knit by one of our members, Carol. And yes, I can knit, but this is so beautifully done. I just loved it. There were many other things that I had my eye on, but other customers bought them. So they've all gone to good homes. The shawl that I'm wearing is a purchase from a couple of years ago at our sale. So we have really beautiful artisan quality products at our sale. So if you're ever in the Calgary area and can come to one of our sales, you'd be very welcome. All right, so stitching. I was able to finish a few things. So one of the things that I finished was this little ornament. This is Day of the Dead from the Just Cross Stitch magazine. And I dyed this fabric myself. And when I dyed the fabric, I dyed the trim at the same time. And I thought, you know, that's something I'm going to do in the future. If I'm ever dyeing something, I'm just going to take the white pom-poms and dye it so that it'll be at least in the same color family. So this is just a sort of a circle pillow, and I put a little ghost on the back. I think I'd like to get like a tin tart pan or something to set it in. But this will go away now until next October. But I thought it turned out very cute with its, I did put some beads on it. So that was my first finish. Now the next one I finished just in time because it is November. And this is my Flanders Fields Biscornu. And this is from Beth Twist at the Heartstring Samplery. This is the cover picture. And this is my Biscornu. Now I decided not to pinch it together. I really liked how the stitching looked on the top. So a few changes from the pattern was I did add some beads around the poppies. And then I also beaded the edging as I went around. And I would like to have some decorative pins, so I made this one little decorative pin out of some wool felt. But I think I'll make maybe another one or two using the leaves. So this one was done on Aida. It's Mystic Gray in 18 count. So I'm happy to have that ready for Remembrance Day, which is November the 11th in Canada. And my last fully finished object was one of my red and white samplers that I was started in May. This was my May starts. I did red samplers. I think I started 5 of them, and I think this is the 4th one that I've completed. And this was done in DMC 321, and it's an Aida 18 count. Now, I mentioned when I was doing the red and white samplers that I was going to try to give them a Canadian twist. And so the line here that says, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, that is part of our national anthem. And I thought it worked really well with the hearts that are in the pattern. So this pattern is called Pierrette's Birthday. That's what it's called in English. In French, I'm not sure. It's from La Magie de Couleurs on their website. So I'm happy with that and how it turned out. All right, and now for my whips. So I have my daily piece. This is Meteo 2021. It's my color chart. And I have to October completed. In October, I showed the day we had our first snow of the year. And I have it all ready to start my November stitching. So just 2 months left, and then this will be completed. Looking forward to seeing it all done and starting my next one. I have that one chosen already, and I'll share that with you at another time. So one of the projects that I've had since the beginning of the year 2021 is Watermelon Tourmaline by Carolyn Manning Designs. And I love it, but I was finding that I just wasn't getting to it. And so I've made this now my 25/7 piece. So I work on it 25 minutes a day, 7 days a week. And in that time, I can get probably 2 or 3 of the diamonds completed. So I'm hoping to make good progress on this before the end of the year. So that's Watermelon Tourmaline. I also made progress on my Needlework Fairy. So Needlework Fairy is from a Jim Shore kit by Mill Hill. And this is done on 14 count white Wilchold Aida. And this was a piece I started on my mom's birthday in memory of her. And it's turning out. It's a nice little piece to work on. All right, and then my sampler that I'm creating as I go, and really row by row I'm creating it. So I think since the last time I've put the church in the middle, and I will be moving this flower piece later on. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work down and then I'll fill in from the sides as I go. But yeah, that's coming along. There's no deadline on this. Kind of would like to do a section a month maybe, just so that I can see progress. And this was done on an unknown linen that I dyed using the denim Ritz color. And now my 100 owls. It's making good progress on this one. So I just have this section here. When I decided to do this project, I made up a map and I assigned months to each of the sections. And so right now, this is my November section here and my November is here and December. And I've already done some of the December because I was doing some counting challenge. So some of that's already done. So this should be finished by the end of December. So I'm really pleased about that. Really enjoying all of the different owls. And then those were my whips that I was working on. Now I have 3 new starts that I'm going to talk about. So if you followed me before, you know that I like to control the number of whips that I have. And so I have 10 spaces on my board, and I've added 3 new projects for November. I've only started 2 of them, but I'll show you just what I have. So this is going to be the sampler Real Comfort, and that's the Jane Austen sampler. And this was a piece that I dyed using the denim, but only had it in the dye for just a short time. So it's kind of a bluey gray color. And I had noticed this sampler a couple of times, and the message on it is kind of how I feel about life. I would rather be home than any place. I love my home, and I love the things that I do here. I also really enjoy using the Silk app, and this is by Modern Folk Embroidery, and so that's on the Silk app, and so I'm able to see my progress as I highlight along. So I'm really, really happy to be doing this. I chose to do the start this month because it's Black Samplers November, and so all of this will be in DMC 310. Which is a good thing that this is all in DMC 310, because I have another start, and it's from this old Leisure Arts book called Christmas Portraits. And the pattern I've chosen is called Noble Companions. You've seen my pictures of deer out here and the elk that move through the area. So I just love anything with an animal with antlers and hooves. So I've decided to do that one. Now what I've chosen, this is, by the way, 1991. So it's been around a long time. If you have access to this book, there's one that my American followers would probably love. Let me just see if I can find it here. this one is called Liberty Angel. I thought that was beautiful. So I chose this really rustic linen that was in my stash, and it's not an even weave. It's an uneven weave, let's call it that. And I do have a start on it. It's this way. So I have a start, but this is one of those ones where, you know, there's like 4 colors in this section, and all the colors look just the same to me. So I'm just going to build out and up. I really wanted to start a Christmas piece that would be like a long-term piece, like not one to be done in a week, or I wanted one that it would take, you know, a couple of months, and when it's done, I'll frame it. So I've got that one. My last new start that I haven't started yet is the 2021 Prairie Schooler. I love this with forest animals. And I have this Zweigart putty khaki, I think it's called, to do it on. And I have enough of the fabric to do several. I have a few that I've chosen, so when I finish one, I'll just go on to the next one. I have the cross-country skiing Santa, the skating Santa, and the sewing one. So far I've just chosen the ones that, you know, really speak to me and my interests. So I'm looking forward to getting in the Christmas spirit with those. So it's great to have some new projects on the go. So it's the beginning of November. I'll work on my November Talavera piece. I'll finish up 100 Owls. I'll work on my new starts. And then my 25 minutes a day with watermelon tourmaline. So I have lots of things to keep me interested. So now I'm going to talk about quilting. So my quilt guild had one of our guild members, Anna Bussolino, is a very excellent textile artist. She quilts, but she also stamps on fabric and uses rust techniques on fabric. And she often writes magazine articles. And one of the ideas she shared with us at our guild meeting was doing a snippet roll. So a snippet roll is you take a backing fabric. So I have a backing fabric here. And then you can build it 2 ways. One is that you can just start to layer fabrics on and stitch them on. Or you can use orphan blocks that maybe you didn't like, maybe it was an exploration on a certain technique, and you have them left over. And of course, you know, quilters, we can't throw them away, so we keep them. So I made my snippet roll using an orphan block. And when Anna spoke to it, she had one where her mother had always cut out the labels in her clothing because they bothered her. So she cut them out, but she kept them. And so Anna made a snippet roll where she sewed in all of the labels from her mother's clothing. And I thought, you know, we have all these pieces in our homes that we have such good memories about, and they're tucked away in boxes and jewelry boxes and that sort of thing. So I had the idea to put some of my family's memorabilia on my snippet roll. And so when it sits on a table, it kind of goes like this. And so one of the very first things I have is my baby necklace from the hospital. And so that's kind of the very first thing. And then I have a tie clip that was my father's. I have some of my years of service pins from the school district I worked with. I have my Alberta Teachers Association pin that I got on the day I was inducted into the teaching profession. And the first time I took it off the card was when I put it on this roll. I never wore it. I have a pin that's from the Birkenbeiner, which is a cross-country ski race that we have in Alberta that thousands of people take part in. And then this one, these are my mother's pins of service with the Catholic Women's League. And I have probably one of her very first pins, her 25-year pin and her 50-year pin. You know, these are things that you can't throw away, and so there they are. I have my honor pins from high school. This was from my school district, sort of a leadership pin. This is from my school that I taught 17 years in Sherwood Park. And then this was when we had our university games in Edmonton. These are the World University Games, and it was the games that Charles and Diana were at, and it was a really big deal. So that's my snippet roll. So now for my book recommendation. The book that I just finished reading was called The Exiles. It's by Christina Baker Klein, and it was a really great read. Christina Baker Klein also wrote Orphan Train, which is about the children that were sent out of New York City to the Midwest for a better life, we'll say. How that turns out for the children is debatable. A great book. Now, The Exiles is another historical novel, and this one is about convict women being sent to Australia. Now, England was sending women to Australia to serve their sentence, but also to be future wives and mothers of a new settlement. So it follows Evangeline, who was Parsons' daughter, who was working as a governess, and things did not go well, and she ended up in jail. And on board, she meets Hazel, again, a young woman who, through circumstances, ended up being convicted of a crime. And we hear about their ocean voyage to Australia and what life is like in prison there, and also the life of Mathena, who was an Indigenous girl who was kept by the local governor, kind of as a, I don't want to use the word pet, but as more of an attraction or an artifact, something unique and about her life. So this book follows these women and their new life and the challenges that they have. It is definitely a book about colonialism and that impact on the Indigenous people of a country. But it's a really great read, and one where you really learn about a different time and place. So I highly recommend the Exiles. All right, so that's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see more of my projects, I hope to post a little bit more on Instagram. Happy.handcraftstudio. Thanks everyone. Goodbye.